In my mind, this is an obsolete thing. It's a normal thing. People don't really care about this. People don't really want to hear about this, but people actually want to hear. People are nosy, number one, but also like, I don't think anybody even knows what vulnerability looks like for real. Hey everyone, I'm JusmeShakoyahD and welcome to my bubble. This channel is for Black women who are on their self-love journey, who are learning to take off their superwoman capes and put themselves first. My bubble is my safe space to express myself as I inspire you to do the same. This is Love the Creative Black Woman, a series where we self-care through crafting and connect on our self-love journeys together. Let's get into it. All right. In the meantime, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. This week we have been talking about vulnerability. I'm still early in my vulnerability journey, and here's my take on it. Here's my honest take on vulnerability. I'm still trying to figure out the nuance between, I guess, how to be vulnerable but also not overshare, and how vulnerability actually plays a role in my everyday life, but also in my relationships. Because I feel like vulnerability is great, but it's like, how do you have a level of vulnerability without, I guess, letting everybody all up in your business? Is that what I mean? I think that's what I mean. Like, of course, you want to be honest with yourself and with your friends, and maybe it's just the thing of when somebody asks you, are you okay? Or how are you? You actually being honest and saying how you are. I think that we get so caught up in the idea of like, okay, well, they're asking that because they're being polite. They don't really care, that we don't actually give an answer. And that's why people don't really care, because they know they're not going to get a real answer. And it's become a common thing. I don't know about in other countries, but at least in America, that's like the common thing. Especially like church and stuff like, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm good. And then it's like, all right, you move on to something else. But also deep down inside, you might not be good. So then you think that when you actually aren't good and you finally give an actual answer, either they're going to be like, I really want to know all that, or I don't know, like, what do we expect people to respond like when we tell them how we actually feel? Because if nobody's actually being vulnerable around us, it's like, what is the point of the conversation? It's just simple pleasantries. And I know that I've done that a lot. And I mean, that's what I was taught, especially like in church. Like, you know, don't tell them your back hurt, your feet hurt. You know, I was an athlete. I was an athlete. So yeah, I was in the chiropractor in high school. I was going to the chiropractor. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. The point is that you're told, okay, don't nobody really care, or you get the feeling that people don't care because everybody's answer to, hey, how are you, is usually, I'm good. Even if you know they not good, but the response is, I'm good. So it's like, all right, you don't really want to tell me what's going on. Little do we know, I feel like a lot of people are dying to actually tell people what's going on, like to talk to somebody. But because nobody is being vulnerable, everybody just kind of sweeps it under the rug. One thing that Damani always says to me is, you don't get a reward for suffering in silence. And I feel like every day that saying rings truer and truer for me, especially as I'm going through my journey of vulnerability. But I'm also in a space where if you tell me you're good and I ask you, maybe I might ask you 2 or 3 times. Like, let's say you're somebody that's close to me, you might be family or something. If I ask you the first time, you say you're good. And like, maybe I know your situation. I ask you a second time, you like, I'm good. And then I ask you again and I'm like, are you sure you're good? If you tell me yes, I'm not going to pry. I guess maybe that was prying a little bit, but past that, you know, I'm not going to pry. I'm not going to force you to be vulnerable with me. But also I recognize that it is a common thing of, I'm just not going to actually say how I'm doing. And sometimes I wonder if this is like just an American thing, if it's just like a black thing, like is this just what we do in the Black community? Or is everybody doing this? Because I don't think anybody even knows what vulnerability looks like for real. I know I'm still figuring it out. So honest take is that being vulnerable is not the easiest thing, but I actually do kind of like it. I like it because I'm starting to uncover things about myself and about my personality that I forgot about, because I was so caught up on like, okay, people don't actually want to know how you're doing, that I forgot that I do like sharing things with people. Or I might have had an experience that I was like, oh, it's insignificant. Maybe I don't want to say discounted, but maybe I guess belittled? I don't know. I looked at something as less than maybe an experience or like a quality that I had, because in my mind, this is an obsolete thing. It's a normal thing. People don't really care about this. People don't really want to hear about this, but people actually want to hear. People are nosy, number one, but also like some people are just waiting on the opportunity to be vulnerable with somebody. And they are so scared to be vulnerable first. So you have to take the moment to decide, okay, well, I guess I'll do it. I'll be vulnerable. And it doesn't have to be like, if somebody asks you how you're doing, you detail everything that happened in your entire life that you did not like. Literally, sometimes it's just a matter of, okay, somebody asked me how I'm doing. You know what? I haven't been having the best day. Like, even before I got started with this, I was talking to Erica. She was saying, because, you know, I don't have that much space on my camera right now, but she was saying, do what makes you happy and don't get caught up so much on the timeline trying to stay on schedule. And I'm like, honestly, a lot of unscheduled things have been happening this week. So I want to just try to, stay on schedule as much as possible. It did not kill me to say that. Like, it doesn't have to be like you detailing exactly what got you off track every single time and da 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 da. But you can take a moment to kind of like open up a little bit and be like, hey, you know what? This didn't go how I planned it. Today did not go how I planned it at all. So I just kind of want to, you know, just pray for me a little bit. And sometimes it's that simple. So vulnerability, I think, is cool. It's a nice thing. It's not the easiest thing. I feel like the concept is simple, but the action, like putting it into action, the actionability, I don't know why I keep wanting to use words that I'm not sure if they're words or not, but the actionability behind it, I think that's the hardest part, is literally being vulnerable, defining what being vulnerable is, while also making sure that you're establishing your boundaries. I think that's what it is, because I just learned within the past year or so how to establish boundaries. But I'm going to lean into this vulnerability, and I think that everybody should. That is my take on vulnerability in this current early stage of my vulnerability journey. Dear Black woman, lean into vulnerability and embrace it in a way that you never have before, in a way that you've never seen it before, and allow it to work with your boundaries. That's what we're learning. That's the journey that we're going on. You will be loved. You are loved. You are appreciated. And there is somebody out there that is literally just waiting for you to be vulnerable first, because they want to talk to you specifically and don't know if they should. So take a moment, be vulnerable with yourself, and then be vulnerable with the world. Love the creative Black woman. I appreciate each and every one of you. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend and tell a friend and tell a friend. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. And I will see you next week. Comment below. Are you being vulnerable? Have you been vulnerable first? What is your journey looking like? Because I want to know. What's your hot take on vulnerability? Because I definitely want to know. But yeah, see you soon. Bye.